have 4:30.
Is that everybody online with us?
Nope, I didn't.
Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order. I just read the minutes of May 13th. They looked okay to me. And did you get a chance to take a look at them?
I realized that I had them done, I just haven't sent them.
We're at Public Works, right?
Yes. It's okay.
I try to put it right on the top.
Oh my God, it's really raining. Holy cow. Okay. Did you want to put those off until next?
No,
Oh, you're good?
yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm not sure if I can make a comment on the minutes.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely,
But I would like to suggest a correction.
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
My report, on the part about the pool, and we had a tentative startup date of June 3rd. It's been pushed back. It's not due to Jennifer Drinkwalter's schedule. That might be part of it, but, it's also mainly because the Red Lodge School doesn't get out till the 6th.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And since most of our clients are children and most of our staff are high school kids, we didn't figure opening prior to that was a good idea.
All right, so full start on Wilson.
Anything that was reflected in last meeting's minutes that blamed her and her scheduling for us opening pool later is not to be inferred that way.
All right.
Okay.
And it
So-
wasn't meant to be inferred that way in my report.
I can just go in here right now and change it up. You have, preparation for opening around June 3rd.
Might I suggest, given that we included that report in the minutes?
Oh, yeah, no,
what we
this
do
is a,
We just have a comment that said it was clarified, so
yeah,
Yeah,
I
just on
received
this
an
one. You
email
don't have
on
to do
it
that
too,
one,
and
but
actually had a
on the
phone
new minutes.
conversation.
on the new minutes, got it.
I did not feel from the report that she was targeted or blamed, but she had some concerns and references about that, and
Okay.
so, she wanted to make sure that we made it clear, and I'll even make a.
The little kids
a
out
white
picketing in front of her house.
comment. Pardon?
I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Well, I
All the kids
understand,
wanted-
she was concerned, it's like, the way this comes across, it's gonna sound like on Facebook, it's gonna be the pool's not open because Jennifer Drinkwater's not available, and
Right. No,
that's one of 100 elements, so.
no, yeah, I was wondering about that when I saw that. I was like, I think my daughter still told us.
The forecast for that week is in the mid
50s.
and low 60s, so it's
Yeah.
not great cool weather anyway.
It's gonna be
So
like
are we
80 degrees
thinking
on
the 10th or
Sunday.
the 11th? Because I thought she had said 10th and yours said the 11th.
This is hers.
No, I'm looking at this calendar that you just sent. This is whose? This is.
That's hers, and it says
Okay.
the 11th, I believe.
Okay, so should we go with the 11th?
But, I mean, we're closed on Mondays this year, so it won't be the 9th.
Oh,
She has the 11th on her schedule with a question mark, so I'm guessing she puts a question mark just in case we have a major problem, which not anticipating.
so we're hoping.
We're filling the pool right now, so it'll be ready to go. Everything's gonna be ready to go.
How long does that take?
Well, we'll have it filled by tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw him working today.
Thursday, we're gonna fire up the boiler. I can go over it in our report.
Okay,
All right.
so everyone's okay, other than that with the minutes.
Yeah.
So
that's
what
not-
we'll do, the minutes will still read that, but
This
in the
next
new,
minutes will show correction.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
show the,
Yeah,
Correction.
the update,
perfect.
the
Just
update
so it's
to
on
it.
record.
Yeah.
Approved with
Thank you.
update, edited, the 11th.
Yes. Okay, all right, Public Works update.
I kind of printed one out, but I didn't get you guys copies. Stormwater stuff is still the same as last time. The wastewater, we had a very short review on the phase 1 design. It would last about a day, I think, or maybe even was out and back in a day, so it is out for bid right now. We have a pre-bid meeting, I believe, this week, where contractors come and ask questions. We still haven't heard anything on the House Bill 6 and 11, of whether the governor signed them or not, for our next wastewater project grant. I think it wasn't in last week's report, or 2 weeks ago report, but I think we talked about it, but, we had the bid opening on May 13th.
Mhm.
We had 7 bidders. COP was the lowest bidder. Cobb Construction they worked on our last water project here. They're good contractor. We've had good experiences with them. They came in low bidder. I believe tonight at City Council, there's gonna be a resolution, I believe, to award the bid to them.
This is for the, which project?
16-inch
The
bypass.
16-inch bypass, okay, that's what I thought, but,
The high bid, just for FY, was 2.5 million. They were at 1.25 million. The engineer's estimate was at 1.8. Cobb definitely sharpened their pencil and wanted to come back to Red Lodge. I don't know, the mayor might have an update. Do we know what's going on with the White Avenue
So, yeah, and interesting enough, so
issue?
we have it on the main agenda below the fold. I did not catch that we did not have it on Public Works, so what I'd like to do is, with your,
what?
The White Avenue.
the White Avenue,
It's that little thing I showed you.
Yeah.
The little
guys,
corner.
the little corner.
Oh.
so we added it for here below the
Why-
fold, but I didn't notice that it is
Why,
not
I
on
thought
this.
that was going on land use and planning because we were buying land.
It did not.
That's why I didn't put it on
I
there.
didn't see it
It
there.
wa-
We missed it, so, but I
Okay.
have it as Public Works tonight.
Okay,
So the intent is still, so just to bring everybody up to speed,
Okay.
as a reminder, we discovered that there is a piece of
Right.
property where we have road and lots of utilities, but we don't have an easement, a proper easement on. Feeling it was the correct thing to do, we have reached out and we have offered to purchase the land at the fair price, which is all we can offer for market appraisal and whatnot. The property owner has indicated continuously that she's on board with that, but we're also now between 4 and 6 weeks of one more thing. So we have that done. She is actually reaching out for a second appraisal. Somebody had asked specifically what that amount was. I included this, I wanna say it's 8,000 and it's a little less than 9,000. And it has the exact math of how that was achieved by the square footage
Yeah.
and the thing.
I had that in the notes.
And that's still the hope and intent that that's gonna happen.
Okay.
Okay.
The Plan B, which is in the packet, is in order for, is to go in front of a judge and have a judge say, yes, we have permission to go ahead and build that, because if we don't, the concern and the fear is, if that pushes on into another year, then it's gonna cost the taxpayers an extra 50 or 100, or who knows what next year's numbers are gonna be. This year's numbers were very, very favorable. We wanna go with those. Our attorney is fairly confident that if we go to court, that we can do that, and I said, it's not my intent, I'm not trying to create a situation where she feels pressured or, where she fights it just to fight it, but I think, and we've had good conversations, and she said, do what you need to do and go ahead and do that. But it's the fallback plan that we would have up for action in 2 weeks if this doesn't come through, that says, yes, Mayor, you have permission to reach out to a judge and get an injunction so we can build.
Because we can't
We can do our
proceed
utilities.
with the project because it's
Okay.
SRF funded, and they won't lend money
if you don't
unless
own it.
we have easement or own
We
all
have
the
to have a
property.
paperwork that says there's no questions or concerns about ownership.
So if you get a judgment, go to a judge, would we just have the easement then and not own the land?
The judge would say, yeah, well, we don't know what a judge would say, right? A judge may put a different price on it. A judge may say, you just automatically have the easement and don't get the cash.
Right,
It would probably
Um,
go as a prescriptive easement, because it's, the
Right.
road and everything there has been there for,
ever. Right,
So-
so we
so
wouldn't have to pay for it.
My thinking is it's advantageous for her to take the money on the table rather than risk having a judge say, yeah, it's just allowed. She
Right,
may be happier just because she thinks there's a liability there. I don't know how realistic that is. It's just, we've been stuck spinning the wheels now for 2 months.
Yeah.
okay.
And so we're trying to, this
Spur
is
it
just,
up.
this is just a plan B to move forward with action.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't put that, we didn't have that on
No, it
a few
was
weeks ago either, so I guess I
No.
was thinking it was coming
Yeah,
from
we never
land
had it
use.
any on
So,
land use.
I mean, do you
Well,
want
we
me?
didn't have it because there hadn't been development. She pulled off
Right.
on it, so
Well,
that's why we didn't take
we
it
had
off.
talked about it, though, in the city council meeting, I know we had discussed it.
Yeah, I just
So,
included it in public comment and said it's not there because she hasn't
Okay.
done it yet.
So is that
Okay.
up for,
So do you want me to add it to Public Works, or are you gonna do land use next time?
I think it's public works at this point.
Okay.
If we do, yeah, this is really public works. I don't see it as land use.
Okay,
I think
So with-
the trees, I remember being back and forth, it was land use / public works at the.
I know. Yeah, I just, yeah.
Yeah.
it's fine.
Anytime we've done trading land and stuff like that, or buying land, I always thought it was
And
more
by the way,
land
I
use.
still, we
That's fine.
got, just as a, that would be more a land use, but since you brought it up, the property up at the top of the hill, we actually got that statement a month ago, and I bumped it, to the city attorney today. I've not seen, I said, does this meet the requirements? Are we ready to move forward with that? But I think we're to that point.
For what?
For the property swap that you're
Oh.
talking about at the top of the hill on
Okay.
Brewery Hill.
Okay, oh, that's,
Are you talking about the one over by Highway 78, or is it?
Yeah, Brewery Hill.
Okay,
Yeah, the
Brewery
brewery,
Hill,
top of
okay.
Brewery Hill.
okay. Sorry.
So
I know.
I bumped that, and I do not have any additional,
But that will be land use.
that will be a land use
Okay.
thing, yeah.
Okay. Will you please remind me to, add this to the Public Works agenda next time?
Yeah,
Mhm.
we'll have one or two.
Okay.
Hopefully she'll just sign it and it'll be done.
Her feeling was that it would be done, because 2 weeks get, now, let me lay out what the possibility, what she's going for, is she's hoping to go to another appraiser and get a different number per square footage. On the, if it were the most expensive piece of property in Red Lodge, it would go from 8,000 to 17,000, just as an FYI. If she has the documentation to show that, I don't have an issue with that, because it's still saving the taxpayers money. So this discussion.
So I guess I'm kind of, I mean, I
Is it
think
cheaper to go to
it's very great. Yeah, that's my question. I mean, I think it's wonderful that the city is giving her this opportunity. But I kind of, I'm like, there's a road and there's utilities already there. A
But if we-
prescriptive
if we-
easement, we
we-
wouldn't have to pay for.
No, if we
go
go,
through a judge, we probably won't do this project this
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
no,
so that-
we think we will get it this year. The
Even with
expected
the judge?
turnaround is he thought we could get an injunction within a month and have it done.
I mean,
So,
Okay.
kudos to her, but at the same time, I'm like, if we can,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great the city is actually going through this process, but I mean, if, I would have a hard time paying someone $17,000 for a piece of land that already has a road over the top of it. There's nothing that, I don't know.
And to me, if we could do it and be done with it, I don't have a problem, because it's
Okay.
gonna save us $50,000 or $100,000.
down the road.
How is
we
that gonna,
can't-
how is it gonna save us 50 to
We-
100,000?
What
we wait-
project
wait-
have you done this year that was cheaper than last year?
If we-
Oh, you're-
if
A
we-
million
if we
and a
wait
half
till
dollar
next
project is
year,
gonna
it's
go up by
be-
more than
it's
50.
gonna
I
be
see what you're saying, the
150,000
project
more.
cost will go up,
If the-
not the land
No,
cost.
the
Okay,
project, the
gotcha.
cost of the
Okay.
project will go up more than,
Okay,
there was even one obscure thing where we thought, and it turned out it hadn't been used, but there was one thing that we could authorize up to 20K. But the attorney's like, yeah, nobody's ever actually used that and gotten away with it, so.
Basically, we'd be saving either $9,000 or $17,000, just because
Make
it
it-
would, I would,
to streamline it.
I mean, this thing's taken 6 weeks and we haven't got anywhere.
Well,
I'm
it's been many
not
months.
trusting a judge to get it done in a month either.
Right.
I would say that, I would say if we don't settle a deal with her, there's a greater possibility it's gonna get pushed to next year. I don't know what the language is in their bid, if it's still good a year from now.
I doubt it, that would be very
We got
unusual.
an excellent bid. The
Mhm,
engineer's estimate was 1.8, we got 1.25.
mhm,
We have to go back out for bid.
yeah.
We could be looking at hundreds of thousands of
Right.
dollars.
Yeah, no, and I have no problem
So now we're
with
back,
that.
so now we're back
pricing,
to
so.
what can we justify to the taxpayers? We bought some land, we're offering, I'm not trying to muscle in and take anybody's property or
No.
anything.
Mhm.
We're trying to do what was fair and equitable, but if that doesn't move forward, I have a responsibility to taxpayers of Red Lodge to move forward with the project in a cost-effective manner.
Correct.
And that's what the Plan B is,
Okay.
that's in there.
Yeah, no, and I get that, I just, yeah,
Got it.
that's fine. Just
And so
move
those are
move
both on the
forward
agenda tonight below the
okay.
fold.
Perfect.
But yeah, I see you down there. Okay.
Any
So-
more questions on that?
And did you have any questions on it?
Okay.
So,
So that's water. We are doing survey work for the next water project, 2026. Streets, I did not print out, well, this is what I'm thinking
Oh.
about for Broadway signs. Is that what everybody was thinking?
Hmm?
That works for me.
Yeah,
North, south, there'd be 28 of the north and 38 of the south. If everybody likes that, DOT is fine with us just swapping them out. I don't have to get an encroachment. We don't have to get an encroachment permit or anything. The signs that we would be putting up would be roughly an inch bigger than the ones that are up there. Just, those are a weird size, and if we go with the standard size, it's way
Saves us
cheaper.
money.
So, an inch bigger isn't gonna matter, and it saves us money. So if these look good to everybody, we'll get them ordered and we'll put them up. I drew up the crosswalk bump out,
Did
bulb
we
out.
decide it was gonna be too many signs if we added an additional sign that said like 100 north block or 100 south block and added that as an addition to?
We've never discussed that before. We've never had them before. And frankly, I don't know, I don't know. I mean, if that's
To
the
me,
desire.
because that would address the whole, how do I get to an address?
You just put a tab on top here that says 100? You couldn't do
Maybe.
that too
I
easy,
probably
or
have to
too?
go back.
Yeah, it's like, is
I
that,
mean, this is easy, because we're just basically taking their signs off and putting these up, and
I've never
Yeah.
seen any other town that does that,
Put tabs up on top?
like for 100.
100, 200?
Oh, I've seen
It's-
lots and
yeah,
lots of them.
have you?
how about,
Yeah,
how about,
that's how they
about
are almost
this?
everywhere.
How about,
Really?
yeah.
how about
And
we
it's just like,
how about
how the
we do
sign is
this?
Can
like
you
that.
show me
The
what
sign
it
like
looks
that, and then like right underneath the south, it would say like 100 to whatever.
Oh, just, yeah, the 100 north
I
or
can't show you.
200
Right.
south, or, I actually took some, they may have been Wyoming that I took this last weekend.
Okay.
how about we do this,
Uh-huh.
and then if we wanna add the numbers, that'll be
And-
another
Will you
effort.
leave room to do it up or down if we do?
What's that?
Yeah.
Will there be room to do it, if we do it that way?
Well, we can't print it on this sign.
Right, I said.
No,
but
we'd
it
have
would
to
be
go up, we're,
above or
If a
below.
tab would just fit over the top. That's what
I
I'm
guess-
getting
I don't know.
I guess I kinda wanna know how much more that would cost
Well, I know.
to
I
just
mean-
over what the.
this is what we
cost.
started talking about.
Right, yeah,
So, should we
I
just stay with the plan, or are we gonna change the plan?
I would like to just stay with that plan, to get the north and the south done, because that's the big issue, is nobody knows if they're on the south end of Broadway, where the north and the south end of Broadway starts.
Here like this.
Yeah.
So like the ones she's talking about are kind of like this right here. Or you can even just add
Oh.
something.
Like what,
Oh, well, and when you say, Mike, and this is fun, me and Mike like to have public fights. Because the original one was, we were gonna change them to the 100, 200
Yeah,
thing.
no, and
But this is what I've seen before, is where
No, we
it's like,
were
it just
gonna
has the
change
number
all
at the
the
top
street
corner,
names
and it's
originally.
smaller, smaller
Yeah.
print.
Ooh, so would this fit to the same thing on those signs? So what they're doing is they're just putting, can you blow that one up bigger?
This one?
So this is the same thing as you, but they're just putting that little number on the same sign.
It's the same sign right above it. And it's,
I mean-
it's in much smaller print.
I've just never seen that
Yeah,
before, I
it's-
guess,
it's-
I'm like,
Well, I mean, it's pretty
but
common in the
obviously
city.
I don't leave Red
Red
Lodge
Lodge.
very often.
No, I'm like, you don't leave.
Sounds like it, Jody.
I know.
So it would just be like literally either above or below, like, yeah,
Or it'd be to the right,
Or to
and
the
the
right.
signs would be a little bit wider.
yeah. And so like this
I
one,
think we're stuck with this size of the sign. We could
Yeah,
downsize
so-
the print or something, but
yeah. So Broadway, and then just put like a
This-
number.
This is what the original resolution that was passed 6 years ago was going for.
the original resolution was to change all the street names.
Right.
So 11th would be 0.
Yeah, well, we're
Right.
100, 200,
It was
yeah.
gonna be Mount Maurice
Yeah, Mount Maurice.
Street or
Well, and
Maurice.
see, this one isn't changing any of the names, but we
No.
could,
Num-
No, and like I've even seen it like this too, where it's had directions to be like, okay, I know which way I'm going to get closer, but those are more private, like smaller.
Well, and And I don't know that you would you do that on the Broadway one? Or would you
To
do
me,
that
that-
on like the plat?
To me, the Broadway is the most important one. Do I,
Correct.
if I'm going,
You guys are looking
I'm
at
going
it
to
over
four
there?
oh five, where do I go?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
we're on the same page.
That's the wrong one.
And I'm okay with whatever we wanna do, I don't necessarily wanna rush to crap. This has taken 6 years, so if we add a month while we talk about it, if we feel better about it, I'm okay.
That's fine with me.
Who's getting lost?
I know, and I
I
guess
don't-
that's it, I
That
don't,
depends on who you ask and which week.
Well, I'm just.
I mean, everyone uses their phone and they put
I
in
know, yeah.
I-
555,
I
and
did
it
put it-
pops up and you drive to it.
But I've
Look
done
at
that,
it.
and I ended up at a
They look at
wrong
their phone.
address. And I literally sat there and talked to a Ring camera saying, hey, I'm here. And then I called her and she's like, you're at the wrong house, go the other
Yeah.
way.
Well,
Well,
it
that's-
wasn't an issue until, and
I don't know the
and
street
Broadway
sign,
was
but
not,
You use their phone to get there, right?
I know.
Yeah. you-
Broadway
But
was
the sign's
not,
gonna help you, 'cause
no.
you're not looking at the sign.
Broadway was not an issue until MDOT didn't put the north and the south, and then Google picked up on that.
So here's the
And
next
so
one.
Google, when you use your phone, they don't know the difference between 101 north and 101 south. So this would hopefully fix that part of the issue.
So,
Well, you
These
guys,
are all the
you
options.
guys
Yeah.
decide which way you want them, before I order signs.
That, like those,
like this one.
oh, sorry. Oh, yours is a touch screen.
It is a touch screen, that's why I was like, don't touch it! I know, don't tell my kids that, nobody
Well,
knows.
Google correcting addresses, good luck.
I know.
I was switched from lane to road 10 years ago.
Yeah,
It's not corrected in most things, it's still listed as
right.
lane.
No, and
I don't know how you get them to update those things.
We tried to get Apple and Google to update and Shoto, and I mean, had a guy dedicated to it for like 5 years and gave up.
Right. Well, and to the
Like,
point
this
of
was
emergency
North
services,
Broadway
that
and South
they don't
Broadway,
necessarily
and
have a
then-
problem anymore.
Over on the side.
Where they
another
used to.
variation on the theme.
They did say that,
Picture of
so
that, and
they're
then
not, they don't really care.
No,
You guys
anymore.
decide which way you want them.
this is, I mean, it does, it just, in other parts of the world, I don't know, but again, who's gonna-
How,
I wouldn't count on, Google Maps or
no,
those to up.
they're gonna end
to
up
catch that
driving
up
through
to-
the golf course or
No, well,
the rock
to me, the goal is if somebody's driving down Broadway and looking at it and wanted to know which street do I turn on to get to 405, they'll know I'm there. 300, 4, okay, it's between the 4 and the 5.
Mhm.
They're-
I mean, and
if they're
it's,
looking at signs,
I
they'll
feel
get
like it's almost,
confused.
it's
Then
an
they'll
easy
turn
printing,
on,
like same size sign.
you know, whatever, Seventh Street.
yeah, I wouldn't, like, I don't know. I don't think it's really necessary, but if you guys wanna do it, then go ahead.
You know,
I'm like,
And just for, this is gonna probably scramble everything.
oh God, I'm ready.
So, you said that used to be north and south on Broadway?
mhm,
We have all the old signs up there,
yeah,
going back 2 generations of Broadway signs.
No,
They all say Broadway.
they just say Broadway.
They never said
God
north and south.
What?
So-
Why?
I wasn't gonna say that, but I.
No, I'm
glad you
I thought it got confusing, wasn't it?
Well, then why did everybody say that they used
To
to say
me,
north
this
and
is an
south?
administration thing, which is not to
Yeah.
say that I will like it better if council signs off and agrees with it.
Yeah.
But this is something that I'll do, and I'll take all the heat and get yelled at.
Yeah.
I'll say, Mike, do it this way.
Kinda show you're running, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't care what they say.
I just say,
You guys just tell me what you want.
I kinda feel like, let's do it now, so that in 10 years, people aren't confusing and asking us to do it again.
So you would say, you'd put an N in front of Broadway
Yeah. Or
instead of,
Broadway- or-
it wouldn't be Broadway Avenue North, it would be North Broadway
Yeah, we could
Avenue
keep it-
and then 100.
Or,
we
this
could
is just,
skip,
this
we
is
could
just,
save texting,
What-
and take the avenue out.
Let me,
Broadway, North
let me
Broadway.
make it easy. What we've done is we've given Mike some signs that have 2 pieces of information. We'll ask him to come back with some proposals of how this might look.
Yep.
We'll all weigh in on how we look, and we'll say, make it so.
Yeah,
We good with that?
word, yeah.
works.
We still
All
give
right.
directions,
And
like turn right
so,
at Collins.
um,
That's how you
100%,
This
I know.
100%.
I know.
Go down to so-and-so's house,
Yeah, no, good, yeah, senior sit.
right?
Turn left at the Catholic Church, go 2 blocks.
And
I'm really shocked that they didn't used to have north and, that they didn't used to have north and south on it. Then how did Google all of a sudden get so messed up? Because it was,
Well, and I
everybody,
used to wonder that too, 'cause my mom's address was
probably,
404
like,
East Broadway.
Google
and my
originally
dad's
got it
address
off
was
of a
733
database
South
that
Broadway,
was like
but I
a
just
table.
kinda,
yeah.
And they
No.
started
At some point, they
upgrading their addresses based on their
the north and
drive-by.
south to the end instead of,
So, that makes sense, Mike, that really makes sense, because I was like totally, I was blaming the changeover of the signs and wasn't
And
it.
I don't have it with me.
I apologize to MDOT.
No, that doesn't.
No,
sound-
no.
I wasn't even gonna mention it, but once it got so
Something that has been
convoluted, I
stated
thought I
many
should
times before,
I
but
throw
that does
something
not
else
make it
out
correct.
I wasn't even gonna bring it up.
I'm glad
All
you
right.
did.
So street, new signage, Broadway Avenue, with
It
or
seemed too fun to avoid.
Oh, well, if we have these signs up though, and Google goes by and they take a picture of it, maybe they will fix it.
Yeah.
Then they'll be like, oh, hey, look, that's not.
No, maybe, just maybe.
So the other thing we talked about on street stuff on Broadway was, the painted bulb outs, and I got quite a bit of info from DOT on that. They had some great, kind of specs of what they expected. I did draw it all up, and I was gonna bring a nice picture of it, and I don't have it with me.
Did they approve pretty much what you had drawn up before?
I have not got it. I was gonna hopefully go over it here, and then I was gonna shoot it off to them and get their first thoughts on it, but,
And again, that's one of those things we'll do, and
yeah,
they're
so.
all on.
But anyway, so that's another part of streets. Moving to the stream bank project, he's doing really good down there. We had a little bit of a hang up when it was wet, and it was partially because it was wet here, but it was actually wetter in the pit where they get the riprap, so they were limited on rock, but, the contractor is very confident he will be done and probably mowed out of here by Friday of this week.
Nice.
So, he's done to date, a great job. Quality work looks great. They're doing a really good job, I feel.
Do we know when, Brandon is coming out to do his kind of final engineer sign off? Is it gonna be on this week?
Chris should be out here, I believe, tomorrow and Wednesday for RPR stuff, and then we were gonna do a final walkthrough on Tuesday next week at 9 o'clock, I think. So, I believe I might have it on my calendar. But yeah, I think that was the plan, Tuesday at 9. Yeah, it's not on my calendar, but, parks, we're plugging away. We dug a big hole in the tennis court today.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
It's an old
Filled with water.
It's an old foundation. We haven't found the other side yet. It was full of garbage. That's why it was
You
settling.
thought, you predicted.
We didn't find any newspapers, but
Oh.
there was stuff that could have been newspapers.
I
Lot
think
of
that's
garbage.
why it's settling.
Yeah, we should have it hopefully finished,
It wasn't literally garbage though, was it, that you have to haul out of there?
no, there's garbage in there.
Like you're gonna have to,
I
like-
don't know, it was 100-year-old crap, whatever it is. There's
Oh.
old metal, wood.
Oh, so you will have to haul it all out of
Oh,
there
yeah,
then?
we're
But
hauling.
this is the space within the foundation that's kind
Yeah, I
of
have,
collapsed in.
yeah, I have
Yeah.
a picture of it.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I just, remember when they were digging for the new high school and they had to haul out truckloads and truckloads of garbage out of there from the old dump,
That was a dump up there.
I
I don't
know.
know what was,
but it was
At
really
the park.
nasty.
there you can see the old foundation.
Oh, wow.
this is the tennis court, like,
There's 4 walls,
Yeah.
3 walls. We gotta find this wall back here. I think we're almost to it.
oh,
And-
wow.
And it's probably 10 feet, I don't know, 10, 11
You're
feet
saying
deep.
Field School Foundation?
Yeah, Field School Park.
Field school.
It's right in the tennis court where
Yeah.
a big hole, it sunk, so. I'm hoping we can finish
Filled with garbage.
excavation early tomorrow and start backfilling it,
Oh, boy.
tomorrow. Hopefully have it
Okay.
finished backfilled by Thursday. I don't know when we'll pave it. I haven't reached out to the paving guy yet, but it shouldn't be too long. And then tentatively, I've been working with the field school tennis court people. They're raising the money to do the resurfacing. That is, around $40,000. And they're gonna pay for that, out of the Parks Board project money. The city's gonna help out by buying nets. Those nets that are down there are shot, and some new pickleball nets. And that's gonna be about, with all the posts and the cranks, it'll be about $49.70. And we'll pay for the asphalt for the patch. And then we're gonna go down and grind, like where there's offset joints with our sidewalk grinder
Oh.
before they resurface.
So what are they paying for?
They're paying for the resurfacing, which is.
And that's $40,000?
Mhm.
39 to 40.
And what's the name of that group that's doing that? Just the,
I think Quartz Red Lodge is what they
Quartz
settled
Red
on,
Lodge.
or something like that.
okay.
And tentatively looking at, late July, early August to resurface the courts. Hopefully we'll have the court that we have a big hole in right now filled and paved by the end of next week, I hope. We'll see. It'll be filled by, like I said, Thursday.
They think it's just isolated to that one spot? Is that
I hope so. It's the only place that was really sunk. I
That's
mean, I'm
easy.
sure there's other, but this one was one that was bad. And, you know, they had put a patch on it a few years back.
Without digging it up and finding out
Yeah,
why.
and they knew there was a soft spot there. There was a hole that they just kept dumping stuff in,
Where's my dad?
and it kept taking stuff, so
Yeah.
should've probably dug it up then, but whatever.
So if I rephrase that,
Okay.
Mike, the city is paying for all the prep work to get it ready for asphalt, and then also for the nets.
And the
I'm
asphalt.
sorry,
We're paying for the asphalt.
for surfacing. We're doing all the prep work, they're doing the surfacing, and then we're coming in and putting in the nets.
Yeah, and then the only thing we're gonna do with the installation of the nets is we're gonna cut the concrete or pavement out, and dig the holes, and the professionals are gonna set the posts and get the
Oh.
nets in.
Preferably.
Because we want them, we don't wanna go to all this effort and then have posts that
Think.
do weird things.
And if anybody's unhappy with the tennis courts not being ready until July or August, the person they wanna reach out to is, no, I'm just kidding.
So, are we resurfacing all the tennis courts over there then?
Yes,
The whole,
and
okay.
it'll be,
Are we asphalting all of them, or
No,
they're
no.
resurfacing all of them, we're just getting the prep work so that they're all
we're
ready
just
to
putting
go.
asphalt in where we're digging up, and then the
Okay.
resurfacing is basically just a,
Sponging on top.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it'll have nice lines, it'll look pretty,
Okay.
and it'll last hopefully 10 years, and I'll need it again. And the other thing with parks is, we finally got the signed agreement on the DNRC grant. I felt like it took longer than it should have, and it was, I think it wasn't you, it was them. I kept calling them, and, cause I wanted to get things going, and they were pretty strict about, don't spend any money until you have a signed agreement. So I hadn't ordered the trees, I had tentatively scheduled the removal guy, and we were good, but as time clicked on, he ended up filling in his earlier dates, so we probably won't get the removal done until mid-July now. I wanted to have it all done in June, prior to our planned Arbor Day. That said, and when I first inquired about the trees, I wasn't gonna be able to get trees till July, so we were talking about moving the Arbor Day. I found out today I can get the trees by June 14th, so I think, and I'll work with the Parks Board on this, but I think it's better to plant the trees in June than July. So we may still do the Arbor Day, and we'll just keep a few trees back that we'll plant in July when those bigger trees are removed. And the pool, we got it The heater should be ready to go. All the final plumbing was done. And interestingly enough, when the pool heater went out last year, and I got to digging through all the paperwork and I talked about the pipe size, I noticed that it didn't seem as big as it's supposed to be. And I was told, oh, no, that doesn't matter, but when they put the new one in, we have a great big gas pipe now, so,
Huh.
that's kinda cool.
That matters.
Anyway, that should be good. We drained the pool the rest of the way today, cleaned it. We got about maybe a third to halfway full, probably a third. We'll keep filling it tomorrow. Thursday, we'll fire everything up and get it circulating, filtering, heating. And then currently, we're looking at probably doing lifeguard training on Friday and Saturday of this week, but there's some conflicts with school that we may try and work around. And other than that, we're sitting pretty good with all that. We're tentative opening date of Wednesday, the 11th, which will be shortly after school ends. And I believe that's it on the pool. On recycling, I did take a trip. Kyle from the recycling center and I ran down to Powell, and they have a glass crusher down there. I think I went over a little this last time. It looks really promising. I told them that we probably produce somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000 pounds of glass a year, and they were getting bat an eye. They want it. We have to work through some kind of details. Before we do anything, I wanna see what our RFP for solid waste comes back with.
And Republic has told us we'll have that before the end of the week, so probably by Thursday we'll see that.
So, see how that plays into it. I don't wanna make any commitments, without knowing what that is.
Mike, who's gonna pick up the glass? We transport or they pick up?
We'd have to get it there. Now, what that looks like, I haven't figured out yet. We would have to change. Right now, we rent a 30-yard dumpster from Republic that the glass goes in, and then they just grab the whole thing and haul it to Missoula. We would switch over to these 300, gallon, those big barrels you see, that's what Powell uses, and they have the equipment to grab those and handle them. Just kind of guessing, I would say that every 2 months, we would generate around 6 of those containers full of glass, so every 2 months, we would either have to haul them down there, or if Republic, depending on what our contract looks like, maybe they have those containers, and we can just switch from renting a 30-yard to renting the smaller ones and still pay them to haul them, or maybe we haul them. Public Works just takes the road trip to Powell every 2 months and takes them down there. I don't know, but it's definitely worth pursuing in my mind, because we spend 16, in 2023, we spent 16,000 to get rid of our glass. I feel like making 6 trips to Powell would be a lot cheaper than 16,000, even if we have to do it ourselves or pay Republic.
So they won't charge us?
What's that?
Will they charge us a fee?
No.
They
Take the gas.
just want it?
Glass?
They
They-
want the glass.
They just want the glass, okay?
Their
Wow.
model is they're crushing it to, sand and pea gravel, and they have these log home people that use it to blast with, and they can
Sandblasting.
supposedly sell 80 tons of it a year, and so they're looking for glass.
Nice.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, that's great.
The glass we collect here, do we break it down at all?
Not
Is it
here,
so
we
bulky?
don't. It's still, the way it goes into the 30-yard container is the way it lands in, Missoula. And then they break it down, and then I think from there it's broken down, and then I think it's hauled to another plant where they do something else to it.
So we have to clean
But if we go to Powell, we just continue doing what we're doing?
Yep,
You
and
don't have
the
to-
glass it's getting recycled, it's getting reused, it's not getting recycled.
Right.
that.
Reduce, reuse.
Repurpose.
Exactly. And last thing I had was something I mentioned last time, and I guess I'm looking for a little direction on it. The mayor gave me some, or should I need to even talk about the EV charging solar thing?
Go ahead, give them an update.
You know, we got that grant. It was a $125,000 project. We got $35,000, leaves a $90,000 shortfall.
And I said not in the budget this year.
Yeah, and it's really, even from, I mean, as a public works director, I would probably argue that we could spend $90,000 somewhere else in a park, something would have a bigger impact than.
What was the electric bill we were trying to offset?
$300.
I can't, like $1,200 a year.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
totally
it
not
was
worth it.
Not.
It's one thing if we're getting
And, you know,
the grant money to do it, but
Alan Best shot me an email with a proposal to a smaller one that's just on the bathrooms, which wouldn't cover everything, but it would help. The problem with that is now we started with an orange and now we're talking about an apple. I have not,
They changed their grant.
I did email Danny Williams at Northwest Energy. She's the person who handles this. And I said, if we wanted to do a smaller project, would we have to start all over again? I haven't heard back from her, but I'm guessing the answer is yes. And then, so I guess what I'm looking for is, approval to walk away from this one.
I would say yes, because, I mean, the whole reason why we were doing this is people were complaining, citizens were complaining that the city was paying electric bills for other people to plug into the chargers.
Yeah.
And they were getting the service for free, at the expense of the
Yeah,
taxpayer.
free gas station.
Yeah, it's a free gas station. So, you know, I don't know if there's a way to charge for or,
I
you
think,
know, I don't know, it's $1,200
To
a
me,
year.
this is something somebody raised, we looked into it,
Yeah,
they came back and the numbers didn't make sense.
It didn't work for
right.
Yeah, I think when you get into it and you start looking at, something to read credit cards, process all that,
Mhm.
pay for the
Right.
service, pay for the cellular device, pay for the cellular line,
Yeah.
and then you start looking, it's like, well,
It's not.
It's not really financially feasible either.
And we are
So-
still replacing,
we just replaced all four. They're
so
all
we've
done.
replaced the units, we're just not spending an additional 90 out of pocket.
Everything works
for-
great down there now.
Is it possible to get Town Pump or Zip Trip to adopt those? Because people gotta do something while they're waiting for their car to charge, and they might spend money at those, I mean, you travel, Big Timber's got a whole bank of EV chargers at the fort.
Now we have to go through and count all the plates that aren't 10 plates that are actually using those.
And I think we are, you know, I agree. I mean, I think it's a service we need to offer to people. We're a tourist, you know, resort tax could possibly, I don't know if they're paying for it now. But-
Right now, the bill for that is paid out of, it's paid with streetlights, so.
Okay.
that-
Yeah, and I mean, I
streetlights
would not
come
have
out
a
of general
problem.
fund that-
I would not have a problem having that paid out of resort tax, just because it is technically tourist infrastructure, whether or not people from Red Lodge use it as well, but that's the point of having those was for tourists.
There is a little thing
Why
up
don't we
there you
give
could
gas
donate, I
credits
don't
to
know,
others
what
that
goes
drive
into it.
gas-powered vehicles?
Yeah,
What's the difference?
I agree. I know,
The
that's,
smog comes out of the canyon rather than here.
yeah,
I don't have anything against EVs, it's just, I guess I'm that taxpayer who says, why are we paying the bill?
right.
And it'd be the same if we were handed out coupons for gallons of gas.
What I heard is council is not screaming that we pulled the plug on it and said, yeah, it doesn't mathematically.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't
I
wanna,
think-
our solution to that was to try to put solar panels on it so the taxpayers weren't paying for it. And then the public works director just said that in order to retrofit those with credit card things, the cost,
And those things are coming down all the time, so it might,
Yeah.
I haven't looked at them for a while.
Yeah,
But-
in a while it may.
When I first looked at them for a water salesman, you know, you're up front, you were talking like $18,000 for that. I think it's cheaper now, you might know, 'cause you guys probably, I don't know if you guys you take credit cards, but.
Yeah, it's a moving target depending on who you're using, and our benefit is we co-op with other businesses that helps drive the cost down.
But you can pass on the credit card processing fees to the customer as well, in a case like that, you know, and most municipalities or counties or states will do that. They do not pay for those. If you use a credit card, it's an
Yeah,
extra
I
3%.
think that's right, I think,
3 or 4% surcharge on it.
is that paying for the cellular line and the
No,
service?
no, it just pays the credit card processing fee is what it
Yeah.
pays.
Yeah, no,
I still think it's valid to see if, because what's the concern? Do we have EV chargers in town?
No, the concern is that, taxpayers' money, whether
Right,
is,
but
yeah.
Why, we put the EV chargers in because, was it a feel-good project?
Well, because more and more, people were driving
Happened before I
EVs.
got here.
Yeah, we're driving, it was before I was on council as
Yeah.
well, but I think it was kind of a joint project between like I don't know if the chamber had anything to do with it to,
I think it was a grant to help pay.
Help pay for it.
One of the, that's the kind of thing, if they wanted to pay for solar, we'll go ahead and put
Yeah.
your solar in.
Mhm.
no, but it was,
It
because
was-
of our
I did look,
tourism
it was
base,
totally grant.
and people were coming here
It
with,
was all grant.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was-
And there
it
weren't
was-
like a lot of places, back when those were started, there were no other EV chargers.
Right.
So if you had an EV vehicle and you came to Red Lodge, there's nothing, you know, you
Well, and this is one of
Get
those
stuff
things
on
to look at too. So Mike just reconfirmed, when this came in the first time, it was originally all grant paid.
Yeah,
But guess
I
what?
took
We're
out the
paying money
paperwork
this
on that.
year because it still takes
And it
maintenance.
was, I think it was,
Mm.
I think there was 2 grants, but it was, I think when you read through all the fine print, there was, the city picked up a little tab at the end, there was a little overage or something, but it was a pretty
And
much
then how much did it
100%
cost to
grant.
replace them this year?
Oh, it wasn't bad. I think we budgeted in resort tax, like, can't remember what we budgeted, but I just turned in the claims on, I think, last month or maybe this month. I can't remember now. It was
Was
like
it-
$2,500 for all 4 maybe, or like
Okay.
3,000. They weren't terrible.
We had 10 budgeted, I
I think
wanna
we had
say.
9 budgeted,
Yeah,
so,
But that's an important thing to remember, that even free stuff has a cost.
No, yeah, no, I realize that.
Eventually.
Yeah. I just, you know, and right now, other places that actually offer that service, I know like the Yodeler Hotel did have them. I
Do
don't know
they
if
not have
still-
them anymore?
I don't know. They
I don't
did.
know.
They did have chargers. I don't know if any of the other hotels, motels offer that service or not.
And it was to attract customers.
Yeah. And it was, yeah. I mean, you park your vehicle, you're charging it, and you'll go down and shop and eat, and it's not like you just,
Sit and wait.
well, it's not like it's a 5-minute fill your car up with gas type thing. It takes longer, so.
you said something about co-op and credit cards. Did the city co-op with a business that already has a credit card processing deal, and?
I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I couldn't tell you off the top of
And
my head.
it'd be worth asking the gals in there how much they pull out of that box. I don't know, maybe there's more. I was surprised in Shoto, 'cause we had a free RV dump and there was a box. And I thought, nobody ever puts money in that. It was stupid how much money people put in that thing.
Really?
I wanna say we pulled out like 200 to 300, so it's not a lot, if it's
I mean,
costing us 12.
I'd go empty that box and it was plumb full, it wouldn't take any more money at the RV dump. But I guess
Yeah.
people are more excited to get rid of their
Mm-hmm.
RV dump than
If you don't have a price, and you just have a donation, some
Yeah, it
people
was-
are more
Give
generous.
more.
So,
Interesting.
anyway, that's it. I've burned up too much time already.
Okay,
so.
thank you for the update. So in answer to your question, yes, I'm pretty sure council does not want to spend $95,000
No, thank you.
out of our budget or
I'm
resort
gonna
tax
quit
budget
chasing that one.
for that. Yeah.
Nope.
I did not pencil it into the budget.
Okay, yes. Okay, so, ordinance number 835 amends the chapter 10 of the city code regarding sprinkler meters.
Hmm.
And this is on for tonight too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think this is actually in the packet also, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, who would like to talk about this tonight?
Hmm,
If you
I
wanna
can kinda run through it really quick.
Okay, so we know what we're talking about?
Sort of,
Oh,
basically, when you get past all the whereases, the first thing that is of interest and it's underlined is the city would offer a buyback program to those customers who bought and installed an irrigation meter in the last 3 years because they probably haven't seen a return on their investment yet,
mm-mm.
and that's still a valuable meter to us. We can use it as a replacement somewhere. So we would buy back, if they wanted to, their meters. And we would have a plumber, a certified plumber come in and remove that meter for them, so that it wouldn't be city guys working on.
This one is not the updated, because the one I was thinking of updated, because it says at their expense, and this says it's at the property owner's expense, it's the latest one, so that's
Oh.
that's the latest. Let me look at the,
A secondary meter, the property owner.
I thought the city was paying for the plumber.
so actually, the one in the packet is more updated than what Mike just handed out.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
So
so,
both, because it says, may, at the property owner's expense,
Okay.
so
okay.
this is, that was, yeah, they went through and clarified, I just said, these, what is your
It just says
intent?
their
So they
expense
changed it.
here.
So the property owner has to pay the plumber to remove it?
Yeah,
We're not gonna pay for that?
It just says does irrigation installed.
that's what the discussion currently is, yeah.
Oh.
Certified plumber
I
removes
thought
the
we agreed
secondary
that
meter
we would
at
pay
the
for
property owner's
removing
expense.
those.
The
I
city
didn't
shall
specify, I
set
just
the
said
buyback
clarify, because
program.
it's a dangling participle.
Yeah,
It's not,
the last we talked, it was going to be the city was
At the
going to
city
be,
We were
yeah.
gonna pay for it.
Because I think you were hoping to maybe get a deal with the plumber, if we had so many, what would you charge
Right.
us?
I don't think we're gonna have very many.
Do we,
Okay.
does that put us at a liability if it's us?
No.
That would be my question.
No, I don't want my guys working on.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah.
if we're paying, outsourcing for a plumber to go in and the plumber screws up, are they still gonna come after the city?
No, they're gonna go after the plumber.
Plumber's got his insurance.
Yeah.
hopefully.
He's
I would-
licensed, I mean, yeah, he's a professional. You're not gonna hire some handyman to go do it, you're gonna
No.
hire like a master plumber to go do it. Which-
He's insured.
Yeah,
But yeah, I thought we had agreed on that we would pay, and the last 3 years, you gotta remember, were COVID years, meters were hard to find. We're not talking about very many meters here,
okay.
probably less than 10 that are
Okay.
3 years old, so.
But, yeah, I mean, and if you put it on, personally, I think if you put it on the property owner, they're just gonna say, just leave it.
And that was
They're
kind of
get-
my working assumption, and I don't have a problem with that. Just because we made an offer doesn't mean they have to take us up on it.
Right, but, I
Well,
mean,
you guys, however you guys want to read is good. I just remember it being discussed as the city was gonna pay the plumber, but if that's changed, that's fine.
Oh, that, I said, it was just Danae,
I
I just
don't-
asked Danae to clarify it.
I don't think that, like I said, I don't think we're talking about very many meters here.
yeah.
It's
How much is a new meter?
370 maybe, don't
Oh.
quote me.
Okay.
Um,
And the plumber bill would probably be 200, maybe, to go
yeah,
change it?
up to, yeah, probably.
So you'd still be getting kind of a discount on it, I guess?
And then the criteria for adjustment, what would be adjusted is your wastewater bill. Wastewater rates, charges, and fees may be adjusted as applied to particular premises by the procedure set forth with. Wow. A lawyer talking there, the entire amount. Well, when you get down to the number 3, where it's underlined, I think is where it finally gets to something that makes sense.
I was reading the cross-off.
For the purpose of fairly estimating residential irrigation use in the summer months and average usage of wastewater consumption for the billing cycles of September 19th to June 19th will be used as a baseline to calculate wastewater bills generated during the billing cycles from June 19th to September 19th. So the way I read that is, you're gonna average your bill
Yep.
when you're not irrigating your yard, and you're gonna pay that level of wastewater during the summer, and you're just gonna pay for all the water you use.
Can, if people kept their meter, would they stay on the same billing plan that they're on now, where they'd be paying the sewer on the wastewater meter, and they wouldn't be on the average? I guess that would be the question.
I think if we go to this, we're not gonna be, the point of this is to get away from the irrigation meters. They're no longer gonna be,
They just won't be read? Okay. They just won't be read then, okay. So, I,
the rest,
One option for removal would be simply giving a credit on your water bill versus reimbursement of cash. It would have less impact, but if
yeah,
you were going to do that.
I mean, I guess, and again, as long as, you know, if it was 3-year-old meters and,
You
And
can
younger.
prorate 'em.
I mean, I think whatever we wanna do there, and I wish one of the water guys was here, 'cause they could give you a better number. I don't think it's very many meters. I think however we handle it.
No, it's,
I mean, we didn't have meters to put out.
we have more people on the waiting list than have gotten them in the last several years.
Yes, so I mean, I think we're talking about maybe a dozen meters. However we handle them,
yeah,
just handle them. I mean, we could
Is
credit
there a
their
problem
bill.
if they're just left in place? Do they create any
I mean,
kind of
it's a $375 meter that's essentially pretty new, and
They can be
I
used
can
elsewhere.
use
Yeah,
them.
it does, to answer your question, it doesn't hurt anything to leave it in
No.
place. It just, it's like if you buy a new lawnmower and park it in your garage and never touch it.
So someone else could.
are you still having issues getting meters?
No,
Oh,
Okay,
no, I mean, it's not like you can just go buy 1,000, but I've been getting, probably 25 every other month, just 'cause we had a list of, I don't know where it's at now, I believe it was somewhere around 180 meters that were aged out.
yeah,
Like water meters, not irrigation meters. So, and we didn't have meters to replace those, so we just I told Northwest Pipe, what can you give me a month on? And they
We'll
said,
take them.
we can do 25 a month, and I said, I will take 25 a month, for every other month.
So the real answer is, we didn't have to do this at all. It just felt like something we ought to do for people. that
no,
have-
and I
Well,
get that, but
it
it
does simplify things for,
yeah,
in there, and, I mean, fundamentally,
People who
I
don't.
have a sprinkler system in my house that I'm not gonna put an irrigation meter in, I just pay the bill.
yeah.
Well, I pay the sewer bill on it, I'm paying for a service that's not being rendered.
Yeah,
That's the purpose of this.
no, absolutely. My only
Um,
thing was trying to decide if we really wanted, the buyback program. If we pay the plumber and we're paying for the meter, is the cost going to be more than the cost of a new meter?
Yeah, it probably is, but it's more of a gesture to them too, they made the investment,
Okay,
and
I
we
thought
haven't
originally
and
we're
we
sort of
changed
good-
our
Good
program.
bought in good faith, you know?
right.
And that, if I go back 3 months or whatever, first
Yeah.
time,
Yeah, and it is, absolutely,
Yeah.
I understand that. I
Yeah.
just don't want the cost to end up being double what it is for
So
the meter or
logistically,
something like
would it
that.
just be simpler to say, we're gonna give you a credit on your water and sewer bill, X number of dollars? And you don't have to
But
leave it in place?
for what? We're doing it because we get something back in return.
Yeah, we get the meter.
There was no
Want the meter
promise
back,
that.
is that what,
Yeah, we want the
we
meter
get the
back.
meter back, so.
okay.
So that would offset some of that, you know, so.
If you ask somebody, do you want free money, the answer is yes.
I know.
If you ask
So-
them, hey, do you wanna trade that for this? Yeah, I'm fine, I'll just leave it there.
So I guess, I mean, I'm fine with this and with the city paying to remove it. I just would kind of like to know how much that's gonna cost.
right, and if it's, like you said, there's not that many that we're.
Yeah, no,
Right.
we'll have to find out how many irrigation meters.
Then I don't
Okay.
feel that, but I mean, if it was like every
And the
other.
reality is,
years.
if they're taking out, it doesn't have to be a certified mess or anything, it's their house, they're paying for it, so if they wanna have Donnie come, then it doesn't matter who does it.
You
right?
can
You
charge
bring
them
them
anything
No,
legal.
if we said that the city is going to
If the
pay for
city's,
the,
if
pay-
the city's
the
gonna do
city's
it,
gonna
then we
touch
have
the
to.
plumbing, then we're having to.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, if we're
and
gonna
you
do it.
cannot, you can't yeah, you have to have a licensed plumber.
Yeah, we're
But,
not,
no,
we're not
but the
gonna,
version that's there, if it's their expense, then they can do whatever they go down and cut it out themselves.
Yeah, you,
however you guys want that part to read.
okay.
Or if you wanna do,
I would like to get council bought off on it enough that we can put it for action, so that we can get it done and into the.
by the time we meet next time, I will have a number of meters that are
Okay.
3 years old, and I'll have a worst-case scenario of they all want them turned back in, and they all want a plumber to come do it. I'll have a price.
Okay, perfect, that would be great. And then we can, when it comes up for action that night, then we will have those numbers
Yeah.
to provide to them. Perfect.
That's why we have it below the fold and then take it.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right, well, I guess I can, Ann, Cynthia, do either of you wanna discuss this tonight?
No.
No.
Okay, I will.
You're
talk
really
about
good at it.
I'll talk about it then.
You'll make it short and sweet.
Okay, so, we are out of time, guys. I guess, just quickly though, did you make any changes to the CIP over last time? Okay,
Tiny thing.
tiny things, okay.
Yeah.
And I will be addressing it just slightly in Mayor's comment.
Okay.
It's all online right now. I think it's one of those things that we could keep chiseling on it from now until eternity, or we can just say I would
Put a pin
encourage
in it.
everyone to, it sounds like we're probably a month out from,
We've got to do a public notice and do a public hearing on it.
Okay,
So,
and so we're a month out from stamping it done. We can edit it between now and then, up until the public hearing.
yeah, and it could be the same night as the growth policy, like the 24th.
And so I'd encourage everybody to get online and go through it. And if there's something that jumps out at you, definitely shoot me an email and I'll get the edits made. And, but I think I'd like to see you approve it in a month or so.
okay.
Off of our list.
And did you have any additional updates to what, on the parks and sustainability?
No,
Okay.
I've,
Okay, that's fine.
that's short and sweet.
That's good, all right.
Mm, no.
Anything else? Any more public comments, any more things? Anybody online? Okay, we're adjourned.
And I do have, I forgot to say, I've got a full calendar laid out for June, July, or Audrey does, for June, July, and August. And if
Okay.
anybody wants copies, I'll
Okay.
get them to them. Does that email work for you?
Yeah.
Okay, I can email them too.
Okay, we're done.